Angeles and San Diego areas, now on LACA. The phone lines are open. They work on both coasts. 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the weather near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
And before we move on, we have to say a happy National Weatherman's Day to our meteorologist, Mike Favetta. He and I both worked at the same New York City TV station, number one station in America, I might say, WABC TV, Channel 7 in New York. And we have some videotape that Mike has no idea that we have.
No idea.
Of Mike when he was interning for, I guess, Sam Champion back then at Channel 7. Let's take a look if we have it, Pat.
Temperatures at this hour are still rather warm as we head through the night tonight. Things will cool down quite a bit. We did see those thunderstorms through the day today. They say Central Park with reported wind gusts of 28 miles per hour, but the winner of the day was Wrightstown at 51, if you call it a win.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I've been saying since yesterday, you were a natural from when you were a teenager. You were going a little fast, right? But Channel 7, that is really the speed. They like it that fast at Channel 7. You do the right speed for us and you did the right speed for them. You're amazing.
I was always very hesitant to project because, as you remember, you were in the middle of the newsroom. It was the dinner break for everyone, so it was very quiet. And I was like, okay, I'll be like a little mouse. I don't want to, disturb anyone as I'm here practicing. And yeah, 20 years later, here we are. It was 2006
God
that was
bless you.
taken.
We're very lucky to have you all
Long time ago.
Thank you.
Well, the weather hasn't changed all that much in all that time. It's cold again, Ken, and it feels like this eternal winter just keeps on going, especially here in New Jersey with the chill around. We get a reinforcing shot of cold air here across the east. The west taps into, look at that beautiful clear air. Nothing up and down the coast with that warm weather persisting. However, it's another cold round, probably the coldest we've seen yet, with very cold wind chills that will be down below zero for this upcoming weekend, as this weekend still remains quite chilly, with highs not expected to climb above freezing even into next week. There is no snow in the horizon beyond maybe a little bit of a dusting tomorrow night into Saturday morning, but it's the wind chill that will be quite dangerous. We'll talk more about that coming up with your next weather update, Ken, in a few minutes.
All right, thank you so much, sir. And let's check, we have a lot going on, so let's check the temperature. 17, it's chilly in Trenton right now. On the West Coast, though, it's 58 degrees in LA. A couple of things to talk about. There's a crash on 287, both directions, north of exit 33, Route 202 in Morris. All lanes are open northbound, but the left lane is closed southbound. Crash on I-80 eastbound, west of exit 30 at Howard Boulevard in Mount Arlington. Left lane is closed there. And we have a down pole on Route 18, both directions, at Ruse Lane in East Brunswick Township. All lanes are closed there, so please be careful with that. The Hudson River crossings right now, the Lincoln is 35 minutes already. Don't know what's going on there. It's 25 minutes at the Holland. We look at the GWB upper and lower levels, and you can see on the lower level on the left, it's a little heavier than the upper. Upper is definitely your better bet. We go over to the West Coast, and we see a traffic collision right now in Antelope Valley. It's on State Route 138 at 213th Street, and we have a car fire reported in West LA on 405 at Wilshire Boulevard off-ramp. Well, the search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, mother of NBC's Savannah Guthrie, enters its fifth day today after she was reported missing from her Tucson, Arizona home on Sunday. Authorities believe that she may have been abducted as blood spatters were found, and media outlets claim they've received ransom notes. Today's show host Savannah Guthrie and her siblings posted a message to the alleged kidnapper last night.
We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us.
Police continue to follow leads, and the search today continues. In a disgusting decision by a communist mayor of New York City, a man charges at an NYPD officer with a knife. The police order him to drop the knife a dozen times. The man does not. The officer fires at him, And Mayor Zoran Mamdani does not check in on the officer's well-being, but he does go to the hospital to visit the man who charged at the officer with the knife.
And as you said, I spoke with the Chakraborty family and I visited Chavez in the hospital. And there is no family should have to endure this kind of pain.
Baba, no! Hey, put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Move! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down!
So the mayor talked about it like the police barged into the house and just shot the guy for no reason. The NYPD was called to this house by the family because the man with the knife was acting violent. He was acting violent with a weapon. Yet the socialist mayor, Mamdani, who, remember, socialists and communists identify people as either victims or victimizers. They make it that way. He knows it. He's doing it on purpose. He's a propagandist left-wing radical. So the socialist mayor portrays the man as the victim because he wants to paint the police as the enemy of the people. This keeps him in control. This is communist propaganda. And if you think I'm a joker and I don't know what I'm talking about, give us a call. Let's debate it. Meanwhile, President Trump said the recent violence in Minneapolis has led him to consider a softer touch by federal agents in immigration enforcement. His comments follow protests, most of which were paid for and organized by far-left groups. Border czar Tom Zoman announced a reduction of about 700 ICE agents in Minneapolis, although over 2,000 extra agents will remain. This is more of a visual that the president's doing. He's not pulling people out. He's only pulling out a tiny amount. He's still going to conduct everything full force. But this is good PR. President Trump knows good PR. The Supreme Court's decision not to take up the California redistricting case cleared a new congressional map for the state to use in the 2026 elections. Opponents had argued the new plan was unconstitutional. See, the map will give Democrats an advantage, a huge advantage, by flipping the few Republican-held seats that are in the state. A federal appeals panel previously upheld the map, finding it was a partisan rather than racial political divide. Listen up. We got video sound full? No, that's not it. We're supposed to Chicago. Chicago. All right. Well, the whole story is about Mayor Johnson's peaceful Chicago. Do we not have the Chicago video? It's yet another blue city that refuses to prosecute criminals that don't want to work. Take a listen. That is Mayor Johnson's peaceful Chicago. Yes, Chicago's a peaceful city. Crime is down, Mayor Johnson says. It's yet another blue city that refuses to prosecute criminals and doesn't want to work with the federal government. The modern day war zone was the scene of that shooting of a Chicago man and woman sitting in their car. They were shot in the car with their baby in the back seat. 3 people were seen running up to the car, as you saw there, and firing at least 24 shots in broad daylight. Then they ran away. By the way, those people were wearing masks. So ICE agents aren't allowed to wear masks in Chicago, but I guess criminals with weapons can. Both the man and the woman were rushed to the hospital. He was shot in the arm. Will be okay. She is on life support in critical condition. Nobody's in custody. Don't hold your breath. Mayor Johnson's liberal city of Chicago will not even bother looking for the shooters. On more bad news for liberal media outlets, the far-left Washington Post announced it was laying off 300 staffers. That's 30% of its workforce. The move is expected to decimate the organization's sports, local news, and international coverage. WAPO, as it is known, has been bleeding cash for years. Jeff Bezos took over the paper in 2013, but it hasn't been profitable for close to a decade. It's 9 minutes past the hour. Ryan Ruth, who was convicted for an assassination attempt on President Trump in Florida, was sentenced yesterday to life in prison plus 7 years. Before announcing the sentence, Judge Eileen Cannon called Ruth an evil man. The 60-year-old Ruth was convicted of hiding in the bushes at Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach back in September of 2024. He pointed a military rifle toward the president or then presidential candidate Trump and a Secret Service agent. Ruth defended himself in the trial that ended in September. What do they say about he who represents himself in court has a fool for an attorney? It's coming up on 11 minutes past. It could be a game changer for the field of reproductive medicine. An AI model developed by Google's DeepMind could transform our understanding of DNA and its impact on disease and medicine. This program is called Alpha Genome. The model could help scientists discover why subtle differences in our DNA put us at risk of conditions such as high blood pressure, dementia, and obesity. Apparently, they believe they have a way of taking the cells from 2 or 3 people and splicing together the best of all, so that one person may have the looks, one person may have the smarts, one person may have the health. And by splicing that all together, they believe they can kind of artificially create the perfect person. I don't know about you. That creeps me out a little bit. There's a reason why selective nature happens and why some people are born a certain way and others aren't. That's God's will. Things happen for a reason, but we'll see where this goes. I don't know. If you're going to breed cattle to eat, maybe. Humans, not so much. Because you know where it's going to go in about 10 years. You'll have people saying, I want a blonde-haired, blue-eyed baby who's 6'3". You know that's going to be happening, and we don't want that to happen. It is coming up on 12 minutes past the hour. When we come back, many women say they feel more burned out and disconnected than ever. We're going to talk about it with a licensed psychologist to find out what it is that we're doing wrong and what we could be doing right. And on this National Weather Person's Day, meteorologist Mike Favetta will have the forecast near you both on the East Coast and the West Coast. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're covering the East Coast and the West Coast, stream daily at ONNJ.com and on the West Coast at ONLACA.com on Laka. We're also streamed on Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, Facebook, and X, and now streamed live on Local Now, Substack, Rumble, and Twitch. It is a Thursday morning, hot time in the West Coast and very cold weather on the East. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. We'll be back in 2 minutes. So go away.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Thursday, 15 minutes past the hour. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike, we are looking at a bitter cold weekend. It's so funny how everyone calls me. Everybody knows we do the show, but instead of contacting, well, I'm sure they contact you too. But I got bombarded last night with, it's really going to be 0 degrees on the weekend. And I point out,
Yeah.
I don't do the weather. Talk to the meteorologist.
No, it's okay. Thank you for manning the phones of the complaint department. It's always appreciated. Because sometimes, it just kind of rings, what do they call it? The rollover. Just the phone rings off the hook. On weeks like this, yes, below 0 wind chills, down to 20 below this upcoming weekend. With the harsh wind, the brutal cold. Today, a sunny day across New Jersey, but we'll actually see a little bit of cloud cover developing. Hey, it's been cloudy most of the time as the athletes are arriving there in Italy. However, yesterday and this morning, getting a little bit of sunshine, so it's already after lunchtime there, around 2 p.m. local time, and the skies are starting to clear out in the valley, which is great news. But there's a little bit of snow that falls on the way for tonight into tomorrow. Still another several inches up in Cortina and at many of the locations. Oh, yeah, and there's more rain on the way. That gets going by Friday afternoon, because what isn't a Milan February without clouds and rain? And it's not fog. They call it La nebbia is the word for fog in Italian, but no. See, in northern Italy, they use the Milanese dialect, which is lo scigro. So lo scigro is really what's happening up there. A really thick, kind of pea soup-like fog that'll take over this weekend. As far as our weather here in New Jersey in the Northeast, a little bit of that cloud cover transitions to some light snow late tomorrow night. It's a clipper system. They usually don't give us more than an inch, so maybe a dusting waking up on Saturday morning. And with that, it is a harsh wind and cold that lasts right through the weekend into Monday. Not a whole lot of warmth around, as that very cold weather, another reinforcing shot of Arctic air, comes right down from the North Pole. And I have to mention, Ken, last week when my nieces were off from school because of the snow day, they were watching at my mother's house, and they heard me say North Pole, and immediately the 4-year-old goes, "Wait, North Pole? Is Santa coming back?" Was very confused. So have to make it clear that yes, while the origin of this cold is from the North Pole, Ken, no, Santa will not be arriving, even though it does kind of feel like he should, right? Because it's that cold.
Well, Santa, I know for a fact that Santa is still vacationing from a very busy Christmas season. He's in West Boca right now. I could even tell you the address for a small fee, but we don't want to bother him. And let's put it this way: he sticks out like a sore thumb in 80-degree weather with a full beard. That's all I'll
I'm
say.
sure.
But it is what it is. All right, Mike, we'll check back with you, sir. Enjoy your National Weather Person's Day. Hope the cake is good. And we'll check back in a bit. It is 17 degrees right now in Trenton, 19 degrees northern New Jersey, 17 degrees in Cape May. On the West Coast, it is 58 degrees in Southern California. We look at traffic, and we got a lot of it here in the New Jersey area. First, we have a crash on Route 495. That's the Helix, just in the vicinity of Route 3. Now, the video that we have here, those cars, those vehicles going toward the sun, they've just passed the scene. So here's evidence that there's a crash before them. You see how light that traffic is? Usually at this hour, that's bumper to bumper. So the crash that's right before them is slowing the flow of traffic down. When they get past it, now you can see the light flow of traffic. I hope that makes sense. But having been there myself, I know what's going on. We just don't have a camera shot a quarter of a mile before, or else we'd be able to show you the traffic scene there. If we let's see, Pam will get us a 287 cam. In the meantime, we have a down pole on Route 18, both directions on Ruse Lane and East Brunswick. All lanes are closed there. There's a crash on 287 southbound north of exit 33, Harder Road. That's Route 202 in Morris. Left lane of 3 lanes closed. You can see the flashing lights there. That's causing a real mess this morning. And then over to Route 80, eastbound west of exit 30, we have another crash, and that's at Howard Boulevard in Mount Arlington. Left lane is closed. Again, this is on Route 80, eastbound west of exit 30, Howard Boulevard, Mount Arlington. Left lane is closed there. Over, let's see, to our Hudson River crossings right now, Lincoln Tunnel, 35 minutes. Holland's only 25. GWB is already starting to slow down. Upper and lower levels, let's take a look at that if we can. You can see the lower level is on the left, upper is on the right. Lower level is not moving at all. I mean, that's just a mess. They're telling us 40 minutes. I bet you it's a little longer to get into Manhattan that way. On the West Coast, we go in East LA. There's a traffic hazard reported, I-5 north at Dittman Avenue. We also have a collision, and this is at Antelope Valley, State Route 138 at 213th Street East. Another traffic collision in Santa Fe Springs, Gale Avenue at Turnbull Canyon Road. Well, we come back to New Jersey, and many women say they feel more burned out and disconnected than ever these days, despite a $13 billion self-help industry. To talk about this is licensed psychologist, published author, and CEO and host of Wisdom Stripes. We say good morning to Meg Toohey. Good to have you on today, Meg.
Good morning, Ken. I'm so happy to be here with you.
And the pleasure is ours. And what is wrong with the self-help industry that is making this kind of money and really not doing a service to women who are working so hard today?
It depends on the way we look at it. But what I'm noticing is when we are looking at the clickbait, when we're looking at the spaces of deep, fast scrolling, clicking, we are only ever delivering soundbite advice. And what the human experience needs is context, it needs detail, it needs to understand where the skill that's being taught in a minute and a half clip actually can fit into an individual's experience of life and actually who they are and their context. We're losing so much in the depth and detail that we give this standard of what it should be. And actually what we're ending up with is a whole lot of ways in which we're supposed to be versus being able to deeply understand who we are and what we need and be able to live a life that matches that baseline of individual difference. So essentially we've made everything.
I'm sorry, please continue.
Oh, I'm sorry. Essentially we've made everything too small and it doesn't fit everybody. And we do it fast and without depth.
And I'm glad you said that. I'm sorry to step on you, Meg. One little example I wanted to give is when online weather forecasting came about. You could just see the forecast by glancing down at an app in 2 seconds, right? We saw that and we thought that would be the end of TV meteorologists or radio meteorologists. Yet when there's a big storm, you need somebody, the human touch, to explain it to you so that you can comprehend and I guess believe it deeply as truth as opposed to just maybe AI generated information. How does a lot of self-help accidentally teach self-abandonment?
I'm glad you asked. So I love that explanation of the meteorologist. We are humans belong and need to belong to each other. And when we are in the space of ticking and flicking and scrolling, we can add AI in, we get this top layer level of seeing what it is we're supposed to do or what the right thing is. That is a space which is pretty dangerous for us because we don't actually know how we feel, we don't actually know what it means to us, and we don't actually know what our next right step is. And we're not exploring that. We're more reacting on the surface to what it is we think. And then when we get into crisis, what tends to happen is we have this culmination of abandonment. And in that abandonment, we don't know where to turn, we don't know who we are, we don't know what's important. And then we have these huge ranges of increased anxiety, increased depression, increased isolation. And so we're actually really in record numbers feeling those ways when we actually all want to belong.
Fascinating. And I know in the TV industry, so many women who are TV news anchors, they have children. They're taking care of their children. They're taking care of their parents. They have a successful career and then they're depressed. And I think to myself, you are so accomplished. You are so intelligent. Why are you depressed? And this makes sense. It's like they're running for something that they don't even know and they haven't achieved it yet because they don't realize what they're looking for.
We are so busy running everything that oftentimes we're not doing and living in coherence with what I would call our heart print. That's the title of my book. You can find it on Amazon. It is the idea that we have a unique blueprint, an essence of who we are. And when we are in this human experience, if we're not connected to our innate wisdom, therefore we can't access our unique blueprint. And when we live away from who we really are in pursuit of things that are perhaps a part of our heartprint, but maybe not all of it, we run and run and run and run, and we're not nourished and we're not deeply connected, and we don't have that sense of satisfaction and belonging. And that's where we see that erosion of self-trust.
And that happens way too often, sadly. What do the most
Yeah.
successful people do emotionally that maybe everybody else doesn't, but should be doing?
I think it's about cultivating that partnership, that relationship with our own internal inner wisdom. All of us have it. You have it. I have it. When we cultivate that sense of what is the next right step, what is important to me, and I like to call that our inner wise woman or our inner good man, when we're able to access that wisdom, that groundedness, that belonging, we can then feel into our heartprint, which includes our values and what's important to us. And we can take the next right step towards the things that are important to us. When we do that, when we're lovely and old at age 65 and we're looking back at our life, we then can say, I've done a good job. I've lived in coherence with myself. And we have that sense of accomplishment. Now, when we live like that in all of our days, 80% of the time, that's where we feel like we belong, what we do is important, our contributions matter. And living like that is really good for our human experience.
Well, let's put it this way, that society could not be what it is without the most amazing, hardworking, dedicated women. I think part of the issue too is that society does not reward women enough with the hard work
Mm,
and the incredible effort that they do on all
mm,
levels from the workplace and the home. So,
mm.
and by the way, I didn't have a graphic of your book, so I'm going to do it old school style. That is Meg's
Oh, you
book.
did.
There we
You are
go.
the
Whoops, if
kindest,
I can get it
Ken. I
focused.
love that. There it
Well,
is. We love that.
I want more. I can't wait to get it and read it myself. You are fascinating. We have to have you back on. Licensed
We
psychologist,
love that.
published author, Heartprint is the book. Get it. And CEO and host of Wisdom Stripes, Meg Toohey. Thank you so much for coming on this morning.
My pleasure, Ken.
You bet. Have a great day. It's 28 minutes past the hour. When we come back, surgeons burning out from their workload. We'll talk with a doctor who says we can be headed for a medical meltdown when we return.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
very good morning to you. 30 minutes past the hour, Thursday, February 5th. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. Our phone lines are wide open right now, 888-658-0234. Talk to us about the psychologist we just had on and whether you feel feelings of burnout. We're going to be talking with a surgeon about surgeons feeling burnout too in just a moment. So give us a call. You're welcome to talk. 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full forecast for your area.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike. So this is the hour of medical professionals burning out. That's what we're talking about this hour. But we laugh about it. But it is a real deal. Our doctors are really, especially since the pandemic, talk about being pushed to the edge, and with the healthcare industry the way it is. So it's going to be an interesting conversation we have coming up. You, sir, have an interesting conversation about the weather on the East Coast, especially.
Yeah, a lot of cold this weekend. So if you have time off, you want to get outside, maybe clear the air, clear your head, and yet you freeze by the time you get to the sidewalk. Can't even take a stroll down the street without every extra layer. All of that cold air showing up on satellite as cloud cover, but no, that's not the case. It's just the temperature of the air is so cold. It matches the color of or the temperature of a cloud high in the sky. The clear sky out toward the southwest looking great, but out toward Europe, in northern Italy, where the games are going on right now. Some rain moves in today, but we're back to clear sky by tomorrow afternoon. So another round of wet weather into today, and then it's clear for most of the weekend. So watching the games this weekend, you'll see a lot of clear sky, at least dry weather, as they picked up almost 2 inches of rain just this week in Milan alone. And it's going to be milder over there in the city. Temperatures climbing up into the 50s by the afternoon on Saturday. Much colder, obviously, up in Cortina, where temperatures remain in the low 30s. Thanks to all of that fresh snowpack, just picked up about 10 inches of snow yesterday and today. Now, our forecast here at home brings back mostly sunny skies for today. The futurecast, however, has another round of light snow coming in with the Arctic cold front that sets up by tomorrow night, and that'll be some light snow that takes over into tomorrow evening and lasting through early Saturday morning. Could give us a quick inch in most of New Jersey, but again, it's just enough to kind of brush off the car top and get on with your day if you plan to go out on Saturday, because it is going to be brutally cold with that wind chill. We'll tell you more about that, Ken, coming up in a few minutes.
Gee, Mike, it makes people think about getting on a plane and heading to, I don't know, Fort Lauderdale or something. It's a crazy thought, right? Want to do that. Okay, I'll just keep my mouth shut and move along. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate you, sir. It is 17 degrees. Yesterday, this time, 17 in Trenton, I should say. Yesterday, this time was like 26. So a 9-degree difference in 24 hours as we inch toward the weekend. That tells you everything. It is 19 degrees northern New Jersey and 16 degrees now in Vineland. We look at the West Coast, Los Angeles, 58, 60 degrees now in San Diego for our West Coast viewers on LACA. Definitely the place to be. I don't know. Some people prefer the cold wave. Some people prefer the heat wave. I'm more of a heat wave kind of guy, just saying, personally speaking. We look at traffic right now. We do have a lot of it. We have a crash now on 287 northbound. This is north of exit 1, which is US 1 in Edison. Left lane of 4 lanes closed. And we could stay on that cam, Pam, just to let everybody know that there's. Oh, okay. That was the electronic. So cold, the electronics are doing that. There's also a crash on 287 southbound north of exit 33 Harder Road, which is Route 202 in Morris, with the left lane closed there. So just a mess on 287. A lot of it is patchy ice left over from the storm. It melts during the day and then it refreezes. People slide out and they get into those accidents. We have a crash on 495 eastbound near Route 3 in North Bergen. The center lane is closed there. And then we have a down pole on Route 18, both directions, by Ruse Lane in East Brunswick. All lanes are closed in that vicinity. We go over to I-80 and we have, let's see, did they clear this up? They might have. Yep, 2 seconds ago it was there and it's gone. So that means it must be either in the process of being cleared up. Oh, yeah, there it is. Pam has the video of it to prove it. So that was bumper to bumper 2 minutes ago. They must have just cleared that up. That was on I-80. So that's a good thing that that's clear. We look at our Lincoln Tunnel approach. Right now, it's about 30 to 35 minutes in. Holland's only 20. That's a good deal. GWB, not so good. Upper and lower levels. Take a look at the lower level. There's a crash. So the lower levels on the left We're told there's a crash just after the toll plaza for the lower levels. So that's impacting that side. That's going to cost you 45 minutes in. It's about 35 to 40 where all the trucks are on the right side for the upper level. We go to the West Coast now, and in Newhall, there's a hit and run with no injuries reported. That's at Nordhoff Street and Aqueduct Avenue. And there's a traffic collision now in East LA, and that is located at I-105 at Garfield Ave. There's another collision in Antelope Valley, and that's at 138, and they just updated it. Let's see, 138 at Largo Vista Road. Again, that's in Antelope Valley. Well, at 36 minutes past the hour, hospitals certainly are stretched thin. Nurses are striking in different locations in the country, and now there's a new warning sign from inside the OR. Surgeons say they are reaching their breaking point. The national survey called Behind the Mask shows a profession under intense strain, with more than half of all surgeons reporting they feel burned out, and 40% saying they're considering leaving surgery altogether. Imagine all those years of med school and internships and residences, and then you just leave. Well, Dr. Africa Wallace is a board-certified thoracic surgeon and global vice president of medical affairs for surgery and med tech at Johnson & Johnson. And we say good morning and welcome to Dr. Wallace. Good to have you on, Doctor.
Good morning. Thank you for having me to talk about this important topic.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're having a little bit of audio issues, but we'll try. If there's anything that is difficult to make out, I'll just repeat it on this end so that people can hear it, because this is all too important not to be talking about. So this new survey is clearly worrisome. Yeah, please. The new survey is clearly worrisome, Doctor. Did you see this coming, having been in the industry yourself?
Yeah, well, thank you for that question. I wasn't incredibly surprised to see that, as we talked to over 1,500 surgeons across 5 countries. It wasn't incredibly surprising to see that more than half have experienced burnout at some time. And this is not a headline. And it's not to be an alarmist, but it is a signal that we need to take seriously. Look, I know better than anyone that surgery is demanding. It's part of the job. It's what we signed up for. But what this survey showed was that burnout is not just associated with the stress in the operating room. It's also associated with the weight of the external extra non-clinical tasks.
The producer just said we're hearing you guys.
All right. Doctor, I'm going to pause you for 1 second. Excuse me for doing this. Just want your technical people to know that we're hearing, I'm sorry to do this on the air, we're hearing your control room talking to us. So it sounds like there's a microphone. I'm giving them on-air direction. It sounds like there's a microphone on in your control room that is hearing you on a speaker in the background. So that might help the control room to figure it out. Check, make sure there isn't a microphone feeding from the control room that is picking up the doctor speaking in the background. That's what it sounds like. So check your computer mic input. All right. Well, let's see. We'll reset. Let's see. Try talking now, doctor.
Sure. Is that better?
It's louder. It's still muffled, but it's louder. Let's try. Sorry to interrupt you, because this is very important.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
And I want to make sure we get this message. Love their work. They're here to provide the best care. I think what we need, the biggest takeaway is that they need support.
You know what, doctor? I don't mean to be. Here's what we're going to do. This is too important to not do properly. We're going to reschedule. We'll get the technicals figured out. If we get you by the end of the broadcast, we'll have you back on today if you have the time. But otherwise, we'll do it at a different day, because this is just too important. Doctor, we appreciate you. All right, doctor. That's Dr. Africa Wallace from Johnson & Johnson. Very, very important topic about surgeons and burnout. But we could discuss this a little bit too ourselves. I mean, I'm not an expert, clearly. And Dr. Africa Wallace is a thoracic surgeon. That's somebody who she's trained to operate on everything in the chest except for the heart. That's what a thoracic surgeon does. Unless you're a cardiothoracic surgeon, then you also do the heart. I have friends who are thoracic surgeons. It is an incredibly intense field. You're trained for years to get to that point of being an expert. And many of these doctors just the stress level is so high, and insurance companies give them the runaround so many times that they just can't deal with it. They work 15-hour days. They're on their feet. They're bent over somebody's chest all day. And it's just next patient, next patient, next patient. And we're seeing a shortage. And this is something the doctor was talking about. It may have been hard for you to hear. There is a shortage in the number of surgeons. So these doctors are seeing workloads that are enormous because people need to be treated, obviously. They're getting these enormous workloads, and they're standing on their feet 15 hours. And in many cases, you think, oh, these people are all millionaires. Not all surgeons make the money you think. If you work for a hospital, you get paid by the hospital. You don't necessarily get paid by the patient. So it's a fascinating look at a serious field, and this could impact healthcare entirely. So hopefully, if we can get Dr. Wallace back on today at some point, we will put her back on. Otherwise, we're going to have her on another day because it's simply too serious a topic not to discuss more about. Another topic that we have coming up in just a moment, we're going to be talking about the issue of trans surgery. And I've said this a million times on the broadcast. If you're an adult and you insist on modifying your physique in any way, shape, or form, no matter what, if you want to have things removed or added, I may personally disagree, and I may tell my own children if I had them, don't do that. But if this is something that truly makes you happy, you have to live you, right? Live your life and make you happy. But when somebody is underage and somebody who is, say, 15, 16, can't necessarily make their own decisions, they're not even allowed to say they want an aspirin at the nurse's office in school, to say to them that, yes, you have the full authority to tell us that we should cut off breasts or penis or whatever when they are 15 and 16, because at that moment in time, they feel that's what they want because they're persuaded by whatever TikTok video they see. That's insanity. And Europe, the European Union and Great Britain went through this for about 7 years, and they realized it was wrong, and they've now gone the other way. They reversed it all. In 2023, European Union, 2024, Great Britain, you can no longer do so-called gender-affirming surgery to minors because it's not necessarily gender-affirming. This is affirming of a mental disorder. If somebody has a mental disorder and says, cut off my arm, you don't do it. So we're going to be talking to our good friend Elizabeth Brown from News Nation about that coming in just a moment. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato, seen on the East Coast and the West. We're back in 2 minutes. Don't go away.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Thursday, 45 minutes past the hour. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike, the chill is on. Just interesting to see how it is so much colder in 24 hours in
Yeah,
New Jersey than it was yesterday at this time. Yet
it's
LA
true.
is exactly the same temperature.
And yet another round of sunshine today. Some clouds arriving by this weekend, though, and a little bit of rain as soon as we head into the weekend. So, yeah, even the weather goes downhill out for you in Southern California. You see those clouds start to roll in there across Long Beach and working their way northward in through the next few days. This high pressure that's been providing all of the beautiful sunshine breaks down, giving folks in LA a little bit more of a marine layer in that gray scene with some spotty sprinkles around, but just a cloudy feel even starting off the weekend into Saturday, and then the breezes take over yet again, drying them out going into Sunday morning. Now, for the rest of the country, especially out on the East Coast, keeping an eye on what will be a very cold finish to the work week, and with some light snow that comes in late tomorrow afternoon. You see it here later tomorrow night. Maybe a quick round overnight. We wake up with coating to an inch on the ground by Saturday morning. It's the harsh winds that will be brutal, with wind chills down in 20 to 30 degrees below zero, not just in the morning, but most of the afternoon as well. So we really have to look down toward the end of February, where most of the country, especially across the plains and the east, will be above average. That'll feel very nice as the jet stream flips and brings us milder weather into the middle of February. Can't wait for that, and I tell you, can't come soon enough.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you, brother. All right. It is 47 minutes past the hour right now, 17 degrees in Trenton. It is, again, 58 degrees in Southern California. In terms of traffic for the New Jersey area, first, we have a crash on 195 eastbound, east of exit 6, which is the turnpike in Robbinsville. This is getting towards central New Jersey, making your way toward Philadelphia. We have one left lane of 2 lanes closed there. Back to the northern part of the state on 287 northbound, north of exit 1, we have a crash reported. That's in Edison, one left lane closed there. Another issue on 287, a crash southbound north of exit 33, Harder Road by 202 in Morris Township. Left lane is closed there. You can see the emergency vehicles on the scene. We have a downed pole on Route 18, both directions, at Route 17 in East Brunswick. All lanes are closed. That's an absolute mess this morning. Your Hudson River crossings now, as you make your way toward the Lincoln Tunnel, we have a crash on 495 in the vicinity of Route 3 in North Bergen. The center lane is closed. So as you make your way to the connector between 3 and 495, that's where the crash is. The video that we have, unfortunately, shows you right after that point. So it looks like traffic's light. Well, traffic's light because the majority is being held back behind the crash. The crossover time if you are before that crash, it's going to cost you 45 minutes. If you are post-crash, it's only going to be about 15 minutes into Manhattan. The other Hudson River crossing, the Holland Tunnel right now, is only 25 minutes. GWB upper and lower levels still very heavy because there's a crash on the lower level, which is on the left. Upper level is going to cost you about 35, lower about 40. On the West Coast right now in LA, what we have is West LA specifically, there's a collision on Green Valley Circle at West Centinela Avenue. And then we have a traffic collision in Baldwin Park on State Route 60 at State Route 71. That area has construction, so be careful. Well, it is 49 past the hour. She is a journalist, a wife, a mom, and host of the Raising America podcast. We say good morning to our good friend, News Nation's Elizabeth Pran. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Hey, Ken. Great to be with you. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. One of the happiest things I've ever heard, because Friday is always a good day, anticipating the weekend. Just saying, just a personal aside. So we have lots to talk about in the news this week. One of the stories was one that hasn't gotten, I think, enough mainstream coverage, but it deserves to. The story of the 22-year-old in Westchester County, New York, just outside of New York City, who successfully sued her psychologist and surgeon for giving her gender, as they say, I put this in air quotes, gender affirming care when she was just 16, giving her a double mastectomy. And when asked by the mother said, I don't want to do this. And the surgeon and the psychologist both said, without batting an eye, they said, if you don't, you're going to just say goodbye to your daughter now. She's going to be dead. she's going to commit suicide. So you just better do it. And this is the MO. This is what they're doing. And people don't talk about the fact that they make $100,000 for these surgeries or more. So when you hear this, I mean, as a mom, what goes through your mind, what that mother must have gone through?
And from a mother's standpoint, right, I have total empathy for all parents. We're all doing the best that we can. I don't necessarily have empathy for doctors who are trying to play creator. And whoever your creator is your creator the man upstairs? Is it science? Both of those things would say we don't have a C-section at 26 weeks because our narrative is we don't want to be pregnant. We don't pull cars off an assembly line when the brakes aren't installed because we want to make sure that we make a deadline. You know, we don't play with fire. And we're talking about kids who are just getting bombarded by mixed signals. There's litter boxes in hallways at schools, right? There's social media telling them they should think and feel something. Their lives are already just a smorgasbord of messages, right? So why make it more confusing for them? They're not fully developed. I've been working in news for 2 decades. I've spoken with mothers whose sons have committed suicides because they were bullied online. And the mother said to me, you know, they have these adult-like bodies, but these childlike minds, and they don't know that the consequences are forever, that what they're doing, these decisions are forever. So why, as adults, would we encourage something? You and I have had this conversation. If a 12-year-old girl says, I'm fat, I'm going to stop eating, because then she'll end up eventually taking her own life. So it's almost as if I'm looking at this photograph. You and I are looking at this photograph of a person who wants to change their life, and we're both coming to different conclusions. Why aren't we letting these kids just grow up? Just grow up.
Because there's money to be made, Elizabeth. As long as there's money to be made, this is the case. Look, there's something called body integrity dysphoria, BID, it's called. A friend of mine is a surgeon. He talks about this. That's when people look at any particular body part. It could be a toe. It could be their nose. It sounds funny, but it's serious. It could be a hand. And they say, I hate that hand, or I hate that nose. I want it cut off. If you went to a surgeon, the surgeon would be in jail if they cut off that body part. So why is it any different to cut off breasts or a penis if they're perfectly healthy? I remember I had to have my left kidney removed. It was diseased, but the adrenal gland on top of the kidney is still there. I remember asking my surgeon, why didn't you just remove it all? And the surgeon said, we don't remove healthy body parts. And that rang true in my head all these years. So if we don't remove healthy body parts, why do we remove entire breasts that are functioning fine just because somebody at that moment in time is going through something that says, I don't want them, but in 2 years may want them? It's crazy that we ever permitted it. Europe and Great Britain did allow it for 7 years. Now they no longer do allow gender affirming surgery for minors. Why is it that the medical community in the US is so vehemently opposed to that?
Well, it's poignant that you bring that up because, first of all, I had this conversation with my daughter when she said she wanted to do something. She said, it's a free country. I said, it's a democracy, actually. You don't really have any say until you're 18 and you're out of the house. So I'm just going to leave that right there. You talked about what's happening in Europe, and there are a lot of people, because there's two sides. So now I'm going to put on my journalist brain. There's those who say this case is not setting precedent. This is, look at the minutia. They're talking about the fact that she had body dysmorphia and that it is not necessarily setting a precedent for gender affirming care. But there are dozens of other lawsuits. I think there's around 28 across the country that are representative of the fact that detransitioners are now suing their medical providers. So is it setting precedent? I'm pretty sure that she was awarded $2 million in punitive and monetary damages because it is setting a precedent, right? And if you look at the two doctors involved, there is proof. The jury decided that there was coercion there. So, of course, my journalist brain says that is setting a precedent. And you will start to see these other cases look at this case. Am I right? I mean, we will start to see a movement, I think, as a parent, and it will be, the tides will be turning because these are children.
And the idea that the doctors are so fast to say, well, if you don't grant permission, she's just going to commit suicide. There really is not sufficient evidence of that. In fact, there's a lot of evidence to the contrary that says so many people who do have gender reassignment surgery don't realize after the fact that it isn't the panacea they thought it would be. I know, look, as a gay man, I know a number of people who are trans. And this one female to male transgender whom I've spoken to said, you know, Ken, it really depends on who your surgeon is. I said, what are you talking about? And now he said that a lot of people can't afford a really good surgeon. And so the results are not great. And they come out of it as the other gender, supposedly. And they're looking for their life mate, their soulmate. And nobody wants to be with them. They're not interested. So now they end up more depressed than ever because they're almost like a freak of nature. I hate to say it that way, but now they've been surgically altered and they're not attractive to anyone at all. And this happens. And then what do you do? Where do you go? And it's almost like a Frankenstein thing. These surgeons make their money, they're done. And then you have a specimen, an individual, a human being left permanently altered.
It actually almost makes my stomach turn because as a parent, you're really doing your best that you can. So if my son came to me and said, I have these feelings, I have these emotions, I would say, as long as you're not harming yourself or harming others, that would be my biggest takeaway. I'm going to support you in whoever you want to be, but I'm not going to do anything that's going to change or harm you until you figure out what the root of the problem is and what therapies, what other alternatives what roads can we go down? We see this a lot with the medical movement. We've done so many stories on ADHD where kids immediately get medications. Okay, totally support medication. I'm one of those parents who is dealing with that as well. What is the root of the issue? What other alternatives do we have? Why is it a first resort? And you see this big movement with doctors who are saying, let's do medication as the last resort. Let's
Well, oh, did we just freeze?
take away this.
Did we?
Am I back?
Oh, we
We're
just had
back?
a frozen. Okay, we got 30 seconds left. I want to talk
Okay.
about what's coming up on the latest Raising America podcast.
So I love this one because we just had signing day, right, for NCAA athletes, and we watched all those football players commit to schools. But what about NIL? What does it mean? My husband was a professional athlete for 17 years rather, and he played college ball, never made a dime, right? That's how it was 20 years ago. I spoke with one mother who has 4 collegiate athletes. 2 of her sons make more than her and her husband combined. They're making millions of dollars. They're collecting money from the collective, directly from the schools as of this year, from endorsements. So what is that like? We're going to take you behind the scenes so you can hear what this mother experiences. Like I said, 4 collegiate athletes who are absolutely raking. It's a whole new world out there, something I didn't know about. So tune in. We're on YouTube.
I love it. Host of the Raising America podcast, News Nation's Elizabeth Pren. Thanks for coming on this morning, and we are coming right back.
Thanks.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
A very good morning to you. It is 8 a.m. on Thursday, February 5th, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Our phone lines are open, 888-658-0234. Sunshine today, highs low 30s. Don't get used to it. Another bitter cold night tonight. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike. So it is National Weather Person's Day, and for those who didn't see earlier this in this broadcast, a young Mike Favetta interned back when I was at Channel 7 in New York at WABC TV. He interned there too, and I believe Pamela has the videotape.
Temperatures at this hour are still rather warm as we head through the night tonight. Things will cool down quite a bit. We did see those thunderstorms through the day today. This is Central Park with reported wind gusts of 28 miles per hour, but the winner of the day was Wrightstown at 51, if you call it a win.
Mike, it's like the mini U. Oh, it is a mini U. That's why. That's interesting. Nino is going to be exactly the same. I have a feeling that, oh, excuse, I'm trying to avoid that. You see that? I got sun cracking
okay.
through.
Don't worry about it.
I'm trying. But you are amazing. What were you there about 20? 2021?
2020. Yes, I was 20 at the
Yeah,
time.
and I only know that
Yeah.
because Channel 7, I don't know if they still have the policy. You could only intern in your junior or senior year of college. That was the rule because they used to get so many. So, yeah, so that would have been 20 years old. You were so natural at 20. It was inevitable that you would be a broadcast meteorologist because many come through, let's face facts. You probably worked with some there. They come through, they try it, and they realize this isn't for me. And you came through and you said, get out of my way. This is my career. And you did it. Man, you rocked it. So congratulations and
yet,
happy.
I went in thinking, okay, I'm just going to be the guy behind the scenes who's going to make the graphics and do that. And then I arrive and, Bill Evans was there saying, no, you got to get on camera. You got to try it out. I'm like, wait, what?
Right.
Wait, no, that's not for me. That's not for me. And it was actually some coercion by professors in college who were like, you're going to have to present your scientific research anyway if you take the research path. And so it's true. And here we are. It's about storytelling, Ken, and it's not a story many want to hear for this weekend because it's a cold, brutally cold story. After so much cold this winter, we have the worst cold yet on the way with temperatures that are right now actual air temperature of 3 degrees up in Sussex, 21 in Newark, a far cry from just how warm it was yesterday, because yesterday you got to enjoy temperatures that were slightly above freezing, to see some slushy melted puddles that were like, all right, bye-bye snow. Now we're back to the frozen tundra with temperatures down in the single digits with the wind chill and well below zero tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, especially with that cold air. We've dropped 16 degrees since this time yesterday in Morristown, 9 degrees cooler in Newark, 11 degrees cooler over in Trenton, and with all of that cold weather lasting through the weekend, the cold doesn't quit. We get another quick round of snow late tomorrow night, a coating to an inch at most. But even the Audio Nova locations across New Jersey struggling to make it above the freezing mark. So, considering how it was a little sunny yesterday and we were a little bit milder today, not terrible. It's going to be tomorrow, I think, that's much, much colder as those winds start to pick up into the weekend, and even Tom's River getting to a high of only 32. The Futurecast showing that cold air racing on down, allowing for the chill to settle in. After a sunny start to the day tomorrow, the clouds roll in by the afternoon, a little bit of light snow later tomorrow night, and then we wake up with a coating on the ground for Saturday. But it's the actual air temperatures. These are not wind chills. Actual air temperatures down around zero going into Sunday morning as well, with highs rebounding only into the teens and single digits as you're heading out the door, maybe for a Super Bowl party. So with temperatures that are so cold, yes, it could snow again for early Saturday morning. Sunday brings back the chill, and we see the cold weather last into Monday. We'll tell you all about it coming up. Another check of your forecast, Ken, in a few minutes.
Indeed, sir. Thank you very much. We have a temperature right now of 18 degrees in Trenton. It's 21 degrees Morris County. It is 19 degrees in Vineland and 21 degrees in Cape May. Let's take a quick look, if we can, at 287. We have this ongoing crash being dealt with. This is 287 southbound north of exit 33, which is Route 202 in Morris Township. You can see them just adjusting the camera because now we have what might be a second crash behind the first crash, but it's causing an absolute nightmare of traffic. As you can see there, again, that is 287 by 202 in Morris Township. Let's look at the Hudson River crossings. The Lincoln Tunnel is 35 minutes in. Holland Tunnel right now, 25 to 30, and GWB upper and lower levels both not so great. We had an earlier accident, the lower levels on the left, an earlier accident mid-span that was cleared, but nonetheless, the damage is done. It's going to cost you about 40 to 45 minutes into Manhattan. It is 8:05 now, and the search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, mother of NBC's Savannah Guthrie, enters its fifth day today after she was reported missing from her Tucson, Arizona home on Sunday. Authorities believe that she may have been abducted, as blood spatters were found and media outlets claim they've received ransom notes. Today's show host Savannah Guthrie and her siblings posted a message to the alleged kidnapper last night.
We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us.
Well, police continue to follow leads, and the search continues this morning. 8:06, a New Jersey Board of Public Utilities issued a request for information to New Jersey's 4 electric companies. The companies must submit 30-day plans to modernize the grid and lower electricity costs statewide. But most experts already know what the problems are. We've known for about 5 years, and they say this is just a waste of time designed to make it look like the incoming or brand new governor is doing something about electric costs. Electric rates went up when the previous governor ordered the shutdown of 6 perfectly functioning fossil fuel and nuclear power plants throughout the state, and immediately power rates went up. Figure it out. A plus B equals C. It is 8:07, a special primary being held today in northern New Jersey to replace Mikey Sherrill in the House of Representatives. She's now the governor, obviously. 11 Democratic candidates are running, including former Congressman Tom Malinowski. The winner will face Republican opponent Joe Hathaway in the April special general election. Democrats have a slight edge in the district, so a Democrat win would keep the balance of power in Congress the same. The polls are open until 8 tonight. If you are a New Jersey resident finding it difficult to pay your high utility bill, there are at least 7 existing programs that have been around for years that might help you out. The governor, though, signed executive orders aimed at affordability and cost relief, but they're mostly for show because these programs are not new. They've been around. It's just a matter of trying to illustrate that they exist. So if you need help, this is a good thing the governor did. If you need help, just reach out, because the prices are through the roof and we've had these bitter cold temperatures. But bottom line, until more energy supply comes online in New Jersey to lower the cost, prices will remain high, and all the programs and credits in the world will not solve the problem. All you have to do is look at another state like Florida, where energy costs are about 40% lower than in New Jersey, yet the population is 2.5 times, and the demand, because of heat, the demand for air conditioning year-round is way higher than New Jersey, but the cost per kilowatt hour is 30% less. There is a solution. It's about having enough power supply to keep the supply and demand ratio correct. That's all it is. Well, Governor Sherrill signed into law a bill that would create municipal homelessness trust funds and housing plans. The law gives towns resources to address homelessness locally, something that has to be done. Municipalities can now establish trust funds to support homelessness services and planning. This has been an issue growing, with homeless increasing in numbers throughout the state in the last few years. And Tuesday's freezing cold weather caused pipes to burst at an Ocean County nursing center, forcing the evacuation of close to 50 residents. This happened at Whiting Gardens Rehab and Nursing Center in Manchester. The temperature in the building's walls got so cold that the sprinkler system pipes froze and burst. Fortunately, there were other locations the patients could be moved to in Toms River and Trenton. It is 8:09. Students at Bloomfield High School held a walkout to protest ICE operations. About 100 skipped class and marched from the school to the municipal building with signs saying "abolish ICE" and some other choice 4-letter words we can't say. The demonstration was not school sponsored, though there were teachers, according to students, who did support the action on their own, not with the endorsement of the school. The protest received mixed reactions. Again, the temperature right now is a chilly 18 degrees. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says this weekend we may see highs of about 0 and wind chills of 10 below. So if you have any plans this weekend, you might want to alter them or make sure you are bundled up because it's not going to be very pleasant. This may be the coldest period, though, of the winter, and it might be the turning point. Hopefully, based on what the long-term forecasts are looking like from what Mike is telling us, we will see slight warm-ups after this weekend. But this weekend and the few days that follow are going to be absolutely bitter, bitter cold, something we want to try to avoid. So if you have any plans, try to make them not outside. But we feel for the people who have to work outside, like people in construction, emergency responders, etc. These are the folks who have to deal with the incredibly cold temperatures. And please give them a little respect if you see them, because they're the ones who are going to be suffering the most. It is coming up on 12 minutes past the hour. When we come back, there is a new home in Edison for an established religious community at a time when many temples are closing or consolidating. This one rebuilt and has a beautiful new place to invite the community to come and worship in. Mostly sunny today, highs in the low 30s, then another bitter cold night tonight. The full Garden State forecast when we return. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We're streamed daily on Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, Facebook, and X. Of course, we're on our mother station, ONNJ.com, and on our new Los Angeles channel, which is ONLACA.com, on LACA.com. We're also streamed live on Local Now, Substack, Rumble, and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/On New Jersey. It is now 12 minutes past, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Thursday, coming up on 8:15. Mostly sunny today, highs in the low 30s. Another bitter cold night tonight. It's like wash, rinse, repeat. Each day it's been the same. Meteorologist Mike Favetta on this National Weather Person's Day. Actually, is it World Weather Person's Day? For Mike, it's always World Weather Person's Day in my heart. He'll have the Garden State forecast for you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
Let's just change it. Let's make it World Weather Person Day. It sounds more worldly.
I have a lot of international weather colleagues who are jealous because this takes place only in America. They're like, wait, you get a day? I'm like, yeah, yes, we do. But yes, it will be nice to be inclusive of all, especially with the temperatures that are so cold. You need like a big warm hug from anybody today just to stay warm because it's going to feel chilly right through the weekend, especially with temperatures that are feeling like 20 to 30 degrees below zero once we get to Saturday and Sunday even. So if you thought it was cold so far, oh no, it gets even colder. Here's our actual air temperatures. Highs today climbing to around freezing. A little bit of a gusty breeze coming in from the north and west, and the wind chill. This is the story, especially for tomorrow morning. Down in the single digits, 0 over in Sussex. That's warm compared to what's coming for Saturday morning. Minus 23 is how it will feel Saturday morning. Minus 17 in Morristown. This is borderline dangerous, especially going into the end of the winter, with minus 30s popping up for Saturday afternoon, even still for Sunday morning. Very cold right down toward the coast. Feels like 3 on Sunday afternoon, headed out to any parties for the big game. So Monday morning, continued cold. This is back in the swing of things for the kids waiting at the bus stop, you waiting at the train platform. So much cold air that will make it feel very harsh right through Monday afternoon. And then we see a little bit of a warm up that takes over into the middle of next week. Now, with that pattern change, there tends to be a little bit more of a bump in the jet stream lifting north, meaning we have better opportunities to see some snow later next week. Could be mixed with some rain, but anytime you hear the S word this time of year, it always makes it cringe. There is another round of light snow in the form of some flurries, maybe a coating up to an inch late tomorrow night into early Saturday morning. It just kind of reinforces that cold, and that is the cold front that will provide the very chilly weather that comes in for the weekend. Again, the computer thinking 2 to 4 inches, that's on the high side. Plan no more than a coating to an inch, I think, by Saturday morning. And then leading to that, a really bitter round of cold that lasts into this weekend. Highs only in the teens on Sunday with that very, very cold weather, coldest yet. And then I think we start to see a nice warming trend into next weekend. So it's a little bit of breath of fresh air around here. It was nice to take a stroll yesterday, Ken, not to freeze. Walked outside without gloves for the first time in 2 weeks. That was nice, but that comes to an abrupt end today.
Well, being that it is National Weather Person's Day, your special day, we have somebody on the line right now we're going to go to. Jeff from Livingston. He wants to talk about college internships and how important they really are for especially people in broadcasting. So can you hang around a second, Mike? Let's say good morning to Jeff in Livingston. How are you, sir?
Hey, how are you doing? Good morning. Yeah, I mean, I tuned in just in the middle of you talking about internships with Mike over there, and he was an intern, obviously. I heard that part. But, you know, I'm a retired broadcaster, 38 years doing TV, and I still think that one of the best ways, and maybe one of the only ways to get a job these days, is to do an internship and do more than one internship, because if you're there on the job and they love you and you're doing a great job and a position opens, and of course these days positions are closing. I mean, it's a very difficult time in the media business, but position opens, you're there, they love you, you have a very good shot at getting that position. Now, if you're there and they don't like your work, you know, I don't want to say if they hate you, but if they don't like your work, you ain't getting that job. So, you know, it's a little late in the show. You talked to this earlier, but Ken, I'd like to ask you how you got started in your background in college and all the rest. I'm sure it's, you know, similar to a lot of us.
Yeah, I did a public access cable TV show at the age of 12 at what became Cablevision. It was UA Columbia Cable TV back then in Westchester County. That's how I started. Then I got into radio. A woman who was on Z100, Claire Stevens, she was a friend and she kind of urged me to get into radio. I did radio. Then I got back into TV. So that was the route that I took. But I ended up working at Channel 7 at the same time that Mike was an intern there. I was in the morning, he was at night. But you know, as you know, the industry is literally just contracting so much. But we could talk about this all day. I would love to talk to Jeff about what his background was. Jeff, we have an interview coming up here, but we will communicate because I'm dying to find out what Jeff's background is in TV. But we appreciate you calling in at all times, Jeff. So go ahead, Jeff.
Am I still there? No, I was just going to say, well, you can find out something about my background by talking to Lisa Marie, because we worked together on a TV show for years. She was a producer, I was a director. So I'll let you go. You got a guest coming, even though I'm more important. little joke, but thanks for talking.
You are more important. No, no, no. You're all important. We appreciate you very much, Jeff, and I will talk to Lisa Marie about that. Now we got to find out. Oh, Mike, there we have it. Okay,
Oh, he left a good
done.
tease. Good broadcaster.
That was a good tease, right? Excellent. All right, my friend, thank you. We'll check back with you, but that was an interesting little conversation right now. And we have a very exciting pair of people on now. After more than 6 decades serving central New Jersey, Temple Emmanuel in Edison is opening the doors to a brand new home. The Reformed Jewish Synagogue was founded 65 years ago. And after 4 years of construction, the congregation now has a gorgeous new sacred space in which to worship. And joining us this morning are Rabbi Vicki L. Axe and Dr. Mark Rappaport, who is president of Temple Emmanuel. We say good morning, Rabbi and President. Good to have you both on.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you for inviting us.
Listen, oh, absolutely. I speak to you as a former Catholic priest. So in an era when you have so many houses of worship closing or consolidating, when I hear this, I get excited. I'm so happy for your congregation. Tell us about the history of Temple Emmanuel.
Well, we were founded in 1961, and we had another building that we needed to move from. It was just deteriorating, so that we needed to move. So we actually came to the community campus on Oak Tree Road in Edison, along with the JCC of Middlesex County and the YMCA of Edison. And as you said, the important part was when synagogues or churches are closing because of changing demographics and even anti-Semitism, it was important for us to maintain a presence here in Middlesex County. And our decision to collaborate with the JCC was intentional and deeply rooted in our values. After more than 64 years, like you said, it was essential for us to maintain a strong and enduring Jewish presence here, a true home for worship and community. And so we built this beautiful new sanctuary, and I'm going to allow the rabbi to describe that.
So the construction took about 4 years, and we felt very close to our ancestors, wandering in the desert for 40 years upon leaving slavery in Egypt. And during that time, once we got the 10 Commandments and needed someplace to put them, God commanded us in Hebrew, Ve'asuli Mikdash. You shall make for me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. So now we've built for God a sanctuary that God may dwell among us. And just a little bit about the sanctuary. You can't see too well the dove installation. It's flowing doves. There's a nod to the Noah and the flood throughout the sanctuary. So we have this dove installation by a German artist, Michael Pendry. It's the only permanent installation of its kind. He came in to put it in. Our stained glass windows that you can see kind of over Mark's head are reminiscent of the colors of the rainbow with waves like the flowing water of the Red Sea. And the ark, which is in the center of the bima, we call the stage, if you will, behind us has the words Lador Vador, meaning from generation to generation, representing God's promise to never destroy the earth again, so that Noah's progeny could fill the earth for generations to come. That's us. We're the generations to come. And it also represents our 65th anniversary, our proud history, with an eye to a vibrant future.
I just love everything you just said. I have chills because of the beauty. People need to visit their houses of worship. Yes, we can pray at home, but you need to visit the houses of worship because it's a sense of community. It teaches us community. It teaches us about prayer together. This is something that we have a history of, right? Thousands of years of praying together. There's something about the power of communal prayer. And one thing I noticed in one of the images that we saw, I saw that you had ministers with souls. So that tells me you had also Christian ministers with you. I love the idea of the community interfaith way of your temple to welcome everyone in the community there. How long have you been that welcoming community?
Well, we've sort of been that welcoming community forever, and we live by that. One of our statements is exceptional hospitality, and so we welcome everyone. But that picture really came about in another way. is the fact that during that wandering of the 4 years, we had no home. And so the community opened their doors for us. And you see that there. That is the community in that picture who opened their doors for us to be able to worship and celebrate and have events. So we would especially like to thank people of that community, particularly the JCC of Middlesex County, First Presbyterian Church in Metuchen, and also Congregation Neve Shalom in Metuchen. So without them, we wouldn't have been able to continue as a soul, our soul, without a home.
So, in this time where there's so much divisiveness, these relationships that we've built over the years are especially meaningful. And we have a long-standing history, as you suggested, in the Middlesex County interfaith community. And they were all of these organizations and homes were so open-hearted in responding to our need for a temporary place to worship and have our larger events.
Right. But you talk about welcoming. It's Ken, if I may, if you talk about welcoming, the mission of Temple Emmanuel is to make each individual feel welcomed, valued, and part of communal Jewish life. It's very important.
And that is essential. And thank God you were there. God bless you and your congregation. The beautiful new building for Temple Emmanuel. Again, it's on Oak Tree Road on the campus there. It's right by JCC in Edison. Many, many joyous and sacred years of worship to you and your wonderful congregation. I can't thank you enough. Rabbi Vicki L. Axe and Temple President Dr. Mark Rappaport for coming on this morning. And by the way, Rabbi, you talked about wandering in the desert for 40 years. A friend of mine is a rabbi in Boston, and she always tells me, she said, if only they invested in road signs. That's her line. She always talks about, if only road signs. It would have been 40 days.
It was all men, and we women clergy like to say that they never asked for directions.
Exactly. That's it. 100%, Rabbi. Right on it. God bless you both, and really joy and just sacred worship for many, many decades to come. Wonderful to have you both on.
Thank you.
Ken.
You bet. Oh, I love it. I got to see that place. It looks so beautiful. It is coming up on 8:28 right now when we come back. Do you have a healthy pelvis? Think about it. We will explain why that is so important, especially for women. Mostly sunny today, highs low 30s. We're back in 2 minutes. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
Good morning. It's 8:30, Thursday, February 5th. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Our phone lines are open at 888-658-0234. Sunshine today, highs low 30s. Another bitter cold night tonight. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike, on your special day, National Weather Person's Day, we got bitter, bitter, bitter cold temperatures
Yeah.
coming. Like 3 bitters. That's a lot of bitters.
It's a lot of bitters. And Ken, yesterday, as we were wrapping up the show, got some information from our colleague in Cuba, because we have this International Weather Society. Yeah. And one of them posted, the Cuban meteorologist, that for the first time ever, Cuba reached freezing, 32 degrees down in Cuba. Yeah, has never happened in recorded history on the island. So this just goes to show how far south this cold is extending, even beyond Florida, and 90 miles south of the contiguous U.S. So cold going into the weekend after so much cold this winter. We look at the visible satellite, which is clear across New Jersey, but you can already make out some of these little white dots here as the sun rises. That's the snow pack reflecting back to the satellite, almost appearing as clouds because it's so cold. But with that chilly weather today, thanks to all of those northwesterly breezes, we're back in the low 30s, but I think it's our last day in the 30s until probably Tuesday of next week. Forget the 41-degree average. No way that's happening, at least until Wednesday or Thursday of next week. But at least we get a little bit of extra daylight each day. Sunset now happening at 5:19. So with the clouds around for tomorrow, heading back into the picture, we look ahead to the little bit of snow cover that comes rolling in the form of some light flakes and flurries tomorrow night and early Saturday morning. It's a very weak clipper system. We just get clipped with perhaps a coating to up to an inch by Saturday morning. But following that is the extreme cold with the wind that will make it feel so brutal out and around that by Sunday afternoon, it'll be very chilly with the wind chills down below zero, feeling like double digits below zero, like 20 below, 30 below at times with the wind chill. Of course, with the high of only 19 degrees and the morning low down around zero, it feels very chilly even for Monday morning because that cold lingers into the first part of next week, but then finally moderates. And I think we see an extended thaw that takes us into Tuesday and Wednesday. The trouble is that late next week, a lot of weather models are hinting at that pattern change, putting us in the every 3 to 4 day, opportunity for a storm, whether it be rain or snow. So that's something to keep an eye on, because rain on top of this pretty icy, dense snowpack would only make for a mess, make for puddles, and then refreezing. And, don't even want to think about that. It's just a ugh sort of weather forecast beyond that.
Wait a minute. How do you spell ugh? Is it
Ugh,
how many?
Probably letters you'd have to make up,
I love it. All right, National Weather Person's Day. Enjoy your day. We'll check back with you in about 15 minutes. Thank you. It is 18 degrees in Trenton, 21 degrees northern New Jersey, 20 degrees right now in Vineland. And in terms of traffic, let's go back to 287 southbound north of exit 33, Harder Road, US 202 in Morris Township. The left lane remains closed, where you could see right there. You could see the emergency vehicles way off the left lane up ahead. And of what do we have after that, Pam? Oh, take it if you can. So Pam is telling us we have another shot, another angle of that. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Pam. Yeah, you got to come off and then back on to get that. But you could see the backup of traffic. That is all in Morris Township, 287 southbound north of exit 33 by 202. Left lane of 3 lanes closed, causing that big backup. That's our biggest accident around New Jersey right now. We have an overturned vehicle being worked on. We don't have a camera angle on it, unfortunately. I've looked at about 15 cameras. We can't find it. But it's on Route 73 northbound, north of Route 70 in Evesham Township. The right lane of 2 lanes on the right shoulder are closed there. We have a down pole on Route 18, both directions at Ruse Lane and East Brunswick, with all lanes closed. Now we have the Lincoln Tunnel about 30 minutes in, Holland Tunnel about 25, and we go to the GWB with delays lower level eastbound, and that is all due to volume. So they're saying the lower level, which is the left side of your screen, that's what they're reporting to us. Looks like that's clearing up. In fact, they're saying 35 to 40. I bet you the upper is slower now, which is on the right. Either way, it's in the vicinity of 30 to 40 minutes into Manhattan by the GWB. 8:35, and the health of your pelvis affects everything from core strength to recovery after pregnancy. Think about it. All of your body weight, all of your organs rest on that girdle, right? The pelvis, everything rests there. And if you have bad lower abdominal health, everything kind of slouches out, and if you don't take care of your bone structure, you can injure your pelvis too. Very important, especially about core strength being important after pregnancy. Yet many women don't make it part of their everyday fitness routine. Danielle Donovan is CEO and founder of Maya Method, which helps bridge the gap between pelvic floor physical therapy and traditional workouts. We say to you, good morning, Danielle.
Good morning, Ken. Thanks so much for having me.
You bet. I'm speaking to you as a person who has an elderly relative who 8 months ago fell and broke her pelvis in two locations at the age of 87. And I watched how painful it was and how long the recovery took. And now when I hear pelvic health, as a man, usually we don't think about it, but I realize how essential it is, because men don't really have to think about it, so to say, but we should as well. So why is
Right.
pelvic floor fit, right? Why is pelvic floor fitness so essential, and yet why does it go ignored?
Yeah, so it is so essential because it is a core element of so many foundational workouts and exercises that we do as women and in general. But it is ignored because it kind of is just brushed off as normal. A lot of different symptoms or dysfunctions that women experience, especially after being pregnant and giving birth, a lot of just symptoms are considered, this is what it is. And I found that frustrating. I found there needs to be a better solution. And after searching for in-person pelvic floor workout classes, I couldn't find anything and ended up creating my own method and getting certified in all of the elements, but essentially created a pelvic floor deep core workout class.
And pelvic floor issues, I now find out, are common, but they're certainly not normal, right? That's something you
Right.
can't ignore.
Right. So many women, especially, and everybody does have a pelvic floor. So many women, though, do experience so many different dysfunctions, from incontinence to prolapse to urgency. And because so many women are experiencing these symptoms, we just kind of normalize it as this is what it is after pregnancy. Your body changes and this is what it is. But there are a lot of different elements, exercises, stretches, release work that you can do to really help support your pelvic floor, which is essential not only for different fitness and exercise, but really everyday life.
And you're a mom of two, and Maya Method was born from your own experience. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I have two little boys. My second is almost 3 now, but after having my second especially, I was Googling and looking for pelvic floor in-person workout classes. I wanted a workout class. I wanted to move my body. I've been in the fitness industry for over 15 years and knew I wanted a workout. But I also knew I wanted to focus on my pelvic floor and deep core. And after Googling pelvic floor workout classes, I couldn't find anything. I would see pelvic floor physical therapy, which is absolutely needed and has its place, but I wanted more of a workout versus rehab. Or there were online fitness classes, and online is again great and has its place, but I wanted in person. I wanted community, I wanted connection. I wanted to go somewhere where I can get a workout, I can connect with other members and other moms in similar life stages, and I could connect with the instructor as well. And after Googling and not being able to find what I was looking for, I used my fitness background. I got certified in pelvic floor and core confidence and ended up creating what is now the Maya Method.
Work, right? That's very important. So maybe you could talk about that.
Sorry, what was that?
It has to be combined with breath work, right? So when you do pelvic training,
Yes.
it should be combined with breath work.
Yes, I love that you said that because breathwork is truly the missing piece and something that can be applied again to everyday life. Where in fitness, a lot of the times we do a workout class to de stress, to disconnect, to not really think about anything. Yet pelvic floor fitness is so different because you're truly reconnecting back to your body, and you do that through the power of breath. So, again, this breathwork, unfortunately, is not something that many will learn or know. And we combine the power of breath work, the power of inhaling, releasing, filling up with air, and creating space in your body, lengthening, let your pelvic floor relax, which is just as important as strengthening. So we focus on the inhale for all of the movements, and then the exhale, which is the activating, the connecting, and creating that connection and engagement to your pelvic floor, which helps with the things when you are sneezing and coughing, and then heavier lifts and exercises as well. But the breath is the root of the class, foundation of what makes it pelvic floor fitness. We incorporate the breath into every single move that we do. And again, it's so important because through the breath, you're truly connecting back to your body, unlike other classes where you kind of are just disconnecting and disassociating to just getting a good workout.
Yeah, I'm even thinking back in like college, high school and college, when I took even weight training classes, how they were talking about how essential proper breathing is, and in everything from getting your muscles coordinated to oxygenating the muscles. It's
Right.
about one whole unit, right? In
Yes,
proper
yes.
coordination.
Yeah,
And your
and
method
it
is
manages the
designed to
pressure.
go ahead. Right,
Oh no, I was
exactly.
just saying
Yes.
the breath manages the pressure. A lot of people want to just hold their breath, especially when they're doing a heavier lift or they're doing crunches, and that just puts so much pressure in your pelvic floor, where the breath is essential. Whether you're doing every exercise, essentially could be a pelvic floor exercise by incorporating the breath and being mindful of what you're doing.
Yeah, and your method is obviously for women of every stage of life, right? From young to older.
Yes, which is essential. So many people think pelvic floor rehab or fitness is really just for newly postpartum moms. So if you've had a baby within the past year, yes, maybe pelvic floor fitness is for you. But that is such a huge myth and misconception, where pelvic floor fitness is essential at every life stage, whether you're an elite athlete, whether you're pregnant, postpartum, perimenopause, menopause. There are so many life stages, especially as women, that we go through where our hormones change, our body changes, and we need to connect back to the breath and our pelvic floor to support our entire body.
Love it. What's a website, Danielle, for more information?
Yes, MayaWell.com. So MAIA well, WELL.com. And we've got our classes, our schedule, our events, and all about the method.
Excellent. All right, Danielle Donovan, CEO and founder of Maya Method. We appreciate you and thank you for coming on, and we are coming right back.
Thanks so much for having me.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Thursday. It is 8:45, mostly sunny today, highs low 30s. Another bitter cold night tonight. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the Garden State forecast for you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike, I got you back. Usually you toss to me saying below average, and I'm tossing to you saying bitter. So there you have it.
And back to you. Yeah, it's all about the cold for the next several days. But beyond that, the middle of February toward February 19th, there are indications that we will be above average for a change, warmer than average, taking over most of the country, including us here in the east. That will feel very nice after so much cold weather has taken over. And yet the coldest is yet to come with another round of bitter cold this weekend. After today's highs climb into the 20s in northern New Jersey, I think we'll see wind chills feel like 20 below by Saturday morning into Sunday morning. A little bit of light snow, maybe a coating on the ground waking up on Saturday, but it's clear the rest of the weekend and brutally windy. These wind gusts will be upwards of 20, 30 miles per hour, making that wind chill so harsh. Coldest air wraps up on Monday, and then we're above freezing going into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. However, by the end of next week, there's indications of a rain, snow, something coming up on the radar. So yeah, there will be a few days of cloudiness before then, but just to get to average, we'll feel great. It's going to take a week, but we'll get there eventually after this last round of cold. And I think this may be winter's last hurrah, at least of the worst of winter. And then we'll finally see the long, warm road ahead as we head into spring, just 5.5 weeks away.
Sounds so British. The last hurrah. The last hurrah. All right, thank you. Of course, I made it a gay British guy with the last hurrah. Sorry about that. But nonetheless, why is it that even the most masculine of guys in Britain can sound a little, flowery? I'm just saying, Mike. Listen, go and enjoy your National Weather Person's Day. Get
Yes,
a
sir.
cake. Enjoy the cake we didn't send you, and really hug the baby and enjoy your weekend. That's
Thank you.
directly from Ken. All right. Thank you, Mike. It is 18 degrees. They are underappreciated, those meteorologists. They are. 18 degrees in Trenton. It's 21 degrees right now in northern New Jersey, 19 degrees in Cape May. And as we look at traffic, we got a lot of it. Let's go to 287 if we can. Still have that crash being worked on southbound north of exit 33, Route 202, Morris. Look at the mess. The absolute mess. Now they have the lane closures there because that's going to take a while. So they're trying to get a truck out. Big tow truck they're pulling an 18-wheeler out. So that's going to be an absolute mess. That's going to take probably another hour or two. Again, that is 287 southbound north of exit 33, Route 202 in Morris. We have a disabled vehicle now reported on the Garden State Parkway northbound. This is just north of exit 135, which is Central Avenue in Clark Township. All lanes are open. It's not causing any kind of bumper to bumper anything, but we can show you that the traffic is starting to build a little bit as you make your way there. This is, again, disabled vehicle, Garden State Parkway northbound. They're just going down about 25 miles an hour. Not so bad. This is in Clark. There is a crash now reported on 1 and 9 northbound south of Pleasant Street in Linden. 2 right lanes of 3 lanes closed. That is a mess. And we have an overturned vehicle now on 73 northbound, north of Route 70 rather, in Evesham. The right lane and the right shoulder are closed. Also a down pole we've been telling you about all morning. It's on Route 18, both directions by Ruse Lane in East Brunswick. All lanes are closed there. Hudson River crossings, the Lincoln is still about 35 minutes. The Harlem rather. I keep doing that. Harlem, Hudson, New Haven. Those are the train lines. It is the Holland Tunnel. Holland Tunnel. I've only said it a million times in my life. It's 20 minutes in. That's a good ride. GWB upper and lower levels improving right now. It's about 25 to 30 minutes. Your better is the lower on the left. Upper is on the right. That's a little slower by about 5 minutes. 8:49 is our time. The foster care system is meant to protect children during their most vulnerable moments, vulnerable times of their life. But for many, it has become another source of trauma. Dr. Rob Shear was raised in the foster care system, forced out on his own. Get this, he was only 18. He had to leave with all of his belongings in a trash bag. Well, he turned that into success in his life. He is the founder and CEO of Comfort Cases, a nonprofit dedicated to restoring dignity to children entering foster care. He's also the proud father of 5 children himself, all adopted from that same system. and we say good morning and welcome Dr. Rob Scheer. Great to have you on.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet, Doctor. What an incredible story you have. The foster care system, though, not incredible. It isn't just broken. You say it is shattered. Tell us about that.
You know, I tell it to my kids all the time. When something is broken, you can actually take super glue and put it back together. But when something is actually shattered, it has to be rebuilt. And we must do that, Ken. See, in the United States, we have one child every 2 minutes who's entering foster care, 700 a day. They actually enter the system because of choices other people made. Instead of what do? We hand them this. We actually hand them a trash bag to carry their belongings and expect their self-worth to think that they actually are seen. The thing is I know that firsthand. I wasn't seen as a young boy, and that at 18, I did the aging out, as we see close to about 20,000 children in the United States age out of foster care every single year. The thing that we all must know, as your listeners and viewers are watching this, we have close to 70% of those 20,000 kids, they become homeless within the first 48 months.
Oh, what an incredible that's an incredible statistic. How did you I can't even fathom where to start. How do you walk out on a street not knowing where you're going to sleep tonight with a bag full of stuff? What did you do when you walked out?
You know, Ken, I was actually the youngest of 10 kids. My mother had been married 6 times. And so all of us were scattered everywhere. And for me, I knew exactly what happens when you put the F word in front of a kid's name. Teenage pregnancy, drug addiction, incarceration. 80% of our death row inmates were actually in foster care. If that doesn't tell your viewers and listeners that we have a system that is beyond broken, nothing will. But for me, I wanted my life to be different. I did not want the system to define who I was. I wanted to define my own path.
That's amazing. But not too many kids have that ability. They're worried about where they're going to put their head down that night, right? When they age out and they're put out on the street. It's a horrifying thought. And I think we live our daily lives and we don't even think that exists. Thank God you're here to point out that, yes, this is a very real problem and it needs to be totally revamped. How did you go from living on the streets to becoming a success in business and a doctor?
Yeah, so I have to tell you, I joined the United States Navy. And by the way, I did not join the Navy to take care of anybody that's listening to this. I joined the Navy because I was hungry. I'd been living on the streets since the fall of 1984. I was now in the May time of 1985. I joined the Navy, became a very successful businessman, and I never looked back until 17 years ago when it was time to build our family. And when my husband and I decided to adopt, we adopted through foster care. And little would I know that not 1, not 2, but 4 kids would arrive at my front door within a matter of 3 months, and all 4 of them having this trash bag. And I just was like, we have got to do better. You know, Nelson Mandela said it so clearly, Ken. Each and every one of us in society are judged by the way we treat our children. Kids in foster care, they don't belong to you. They don't belong to me. They don't belong to your viewers. They belong to all of us. To all of us. And for me, I knew I needed to let these kids know that we see them, we love them, and we are there for them. So we grabbed a backpack, we put all the essential items in it, and we started handing them out. You know, in 13 years, because of amazing people, we have delivered over 300,000 backpacks. We have delivered them to all 50 states, DC and Puerto Rico. And yes, we have delivered them to New Jersey, where you all have close to 3,000 children in foster care. And yes, it's the lowest number you have ever seen in your state, but we cannot forget it's 3,000 children that still need us.
Yeah, first of all, let me just say that your kids are very lucky to have you and your husband as a family with the positivity and the love that so many kids don't get. And that's just such a blessing that they have that. But the reality is just too many kids don't have that. And as you pointed out, I did not know the statistics. You said 80% of, give me that stat again, 80% of people who are incarcerated?
We have 80% of our death row inmates were either touched or in foster care. But listen to this. We have close to 400,000 kids, Ken, in the foster care system. Only 54% of them will actually graduate high school. That's it. That's it. If that was happening in your school district and my school district, we would have the superintendent's head on a platter. But we allow this continuously in our foster care system.
Well, how can people help out? What's the first step if somebody wants to do something to help change this?
Well, you know what, Ken? The first thing that we all must understand is that our legacy is about what we give and not about what we take. And each and every one of us can make an impact. You don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to have a lot of degrees. What you have to understand is each and every one of us have something that's special, and that's time. Time. So take that time and truly impact your community, but realize your community is not your zip code. Your community is our human race. So what affects you in New Jersey affects me in my little town of Darnestown, Maryland. So get out there and serve, mentor these kids, volunteer, come to comfortcases.org and find out how you can take those little travel lotions and shampoos that you took at that hotel and send them to us, because it truly makes an impact for a child.
You're a special man, Dr. Rob Shear. Again, give that website one more time. Is it comfortcases.org?
That is correct. Comfortcases.org. And never forget, the .com world, we're takers. But in the .org world, we all give. So let's give.
Absolutely. Amen to that. Dr. Rob Shear, thank you for coming on. Please come on again. We'd love to talk to you more. And let's see if we can't come up with a much better system than the shattered one that is foster care today. Great to have you on today.
Thank you, my friend.
You bet. Wow. Special man, special family. And what a life. It is 8:57 now. That is on New Jersey Mornings for this Thursday, February 5th. I'm Ken Rosato. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says mostly sunny today, highs in the low 30s. Another bitter cold night tonight. Remember, we're streamed daily at ONNG.com, ONLACA.com, Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, Facebook, and X, and now streamed live on Local Now, Substack, Rumble, and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/on New Jersey. If you like what you saw, tell all your friends about it. We'll catch you back here tomorrow morning at 7 when we will be live throughout America, starting with mornings with Ken Rosato, East Coast and West. Until then, have a great day.